Hello everybody! So today I wanted to talk about what I read in February. I feel like I read a lot of stuff in February, but then I got my stack of books together and it wasn't that much. And it wasn't a wonderful reading month in general. But let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first book that I finished up, I started in January and I finished it up in February, was The Alice Network by Kate Quinn. So this book follows two women. It follows Charlie and it follows Eve. So Eve was a spy in the war, and you learn about her story and what she's gone through as the book goes on. And so Charlie and Eve's paths cross, and you get a little bit of knowledge of both characters, but you mostly stay in Eve's storyline in the past in the war, which I really enjoyed that part. Honestly, this book was only a 3-star book for me. It was okay, but it just didn't grab my attention. The last bit was good. The last quarter of the book or so I really enjoyed, but it was just okay for me. I've read other historical fictions that I've enjoyed more, and actually I just did a video on it. I'll link it in the cards for you. Wasn't a great start to the month. The next book that I read was Women in the Castle by Jessica Shattuck. This was the book that my mom, sister-in-law, and I chose for our book club of February. So the premise of this book was actually really interesting. It was following the lives of wives of the resistors in Germany after the war was already over, for the most part. It jumps back in time a little bit, but for the most part it takes place after the war is already over. So it's a really interesting perspective. I've never read a book in the perspective of a German and a German wife, for that matter. It was just kind of another book. I had a really hard time with the time jumps in this. I went back and forth between reading the physical copy and listening to it on Audible, and it was just okay. I gave it 3 stars again. Just wasn't my favorite. Again, I've read a lot more historical fictions that I've absolutely loved, and this just didn't make the list for me, which is too bad. It had a really great premise, and I was excited for the potential of the book. The last book that I actually finished was A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. So this book it's a kid's book, but I've never read it. So this book follows Meg and Calvin and Charles Wallace. So Meg and Charles Wallace are looking for their father, who has disappeared. Everyone assumes that he is dead. They believe otherwise, and so they go on this adventure, and a boy named Calvin comes along with them, because why not? And they meet a lot of different types of people. They get to learn a lot about themselves, and you know, it was a fun read. I enjoyed it. I listened to a little bit of it on audiobook, and I read a little bit of it, and I had a good time reading it. I enjoyed the character Meg. She is very stubborn and strong-willed and quick to react, and she hates those things about herself. She doesn't feel like she fits in with the rest of her family, who's very, very smart, and she doesn't feel like she fits in as a girl, as a schoolgirl either. And she learns to use those, what she thinks of as weaknesses. She learns to use those as strengths throughout the book. And it was a good read. It was fun to see where Meg started and kind of where she ended up, and how her personality and those weaknesses kind of helped her throughout this journey. So I really enjoyed it. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 star. I don't know if I'll continue with the series or not. I'm really not good at continuing with series. I am a standalone book kind of girl. I like a lot of series, but I usually read the first one, and then it takes me a really long time to read the rest of the series. So we'll see what happens. But I did enjoy this one. So And then that's all I finished. I was also reading High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard, and I'm about done. I'm over halfway through, but I haven't finished it yet, so I'll include it with my March wrap up. But oh my gosh, you guys, I haven't gotten through it because it's so good and I'm taking so many notes. It's already a 5-star book. Like, I don't know that the last third of the book can ruin the entire book for me, because the amount of information I have gotten from the first 2/3 of this book is invaluable. I mean, it's just amazing. So this book, Brendan believes that there are 6 habits that high performers have. So people who excel at what they do and they're very efficient. And those habits are, it says it on the back, clarity, energy, necessity, productivity, influence, and courage. So I am currently on the chapter of courage, but the first 5 chapters have been absolutely amazing as well. So I'm looking forward to finishing it. I've been reading it. I've just been taking so many notes that I haven't gotten through it yet. So those are the books that I read in February. Let me know in the comments below if you read any of these books, or what books you read in February and what you enjoyed. And let me know if you think I'd enjoy them too. So I hope you had a good reading month. I hope that you have a good reading month in March. I'm hoping to get through a few books, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.